We are live for Empire State of Baseball, episode number 133 on this Monday, July the 21st, 2025, airing on Instagram, X, and YouTube, and as always, powered by StreamYard. And gentlemen, Tom's running late. That's okay. He'll be joining us shortly. We are live here for another edition of ESB, our first official second half episode here for Empire State of Baseball in this season number 4 of the year 2025. We have Mets and Yankees games in progress, which I'm sure there'll be updates throughout. Joe just dropped an update that I think the Mets are trailing now 4-0 in a game that Kodai Senga is pitching here.
Senga's struggling, riding 4 of a kind across the board, not in a good way. 4 hits, 4 earned, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts through 3 innings. So that's the 4 is a wild for Senga, and so is he at the moment.
Right. Yep. Not what you want to see for the Yankees right now. Currently, at least that when I checked, it was 1-0 Yankees off a solo home run from Giancarlo Stanton, which actually makes Joe a happy camper because Joe invested in Giancarlo Stanton as part of last week's trading floor. So there you go, Joe. That could be some ESB bucks in your pocket by next week.
Could be. We got to see how the voting goes.
Well, we shall see. Hopefully there's no insider trading by the time we get around to our next edition of the trading floor. Otherwise, Joe's going to be looking pretty good for next week. Corey, how we doing, bud? What's going on? We're almost done with the wheel.
Almost done with the wheel. For those following on Instagram and YouTube, because we're putting the shorts there too, we're doing the country wheel. Country of Heritage, try to draft a team. Only 2 spots left. We need an outfielder. Really needs to be a 7th fielder. So, if we don't get a 7th fielder, Akil Baddoo becomes our 7th fielder, which is not fun. And we need 1 more reliever, but we're almost there. I think we're
Team's not looking bad. Team's looking
pretty good.
Hey, that's a squad.
Yeah, team's pretty good. The catcher is bad. But other than that, team's looking good. I mean, you got 2 Hall of Famers in the rotation. You got an all-star in the rotation. You got the best closer in baseball. You got a lot of offensive weapons there.
The 2 best Japanese players of all time. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's coming along pretty well over there. I'll tell you what's not coming along, though, is the friggin' Mets, man. Oh, my God. They piss me off.
No, and we'll get more into the Mets shortly, into our Empire Express. And before we do that, love to run through our comments thus far in the chat. We got 25 people in the building, 3 minutes in. We'll jump those numbers up as we go into the show here. But Jacob Petruzzi, almost as always, our first person here in the chat. Smack that like and sub button for the fellas on your way in. This came in at 11 o'clock last night. So Jacob was well ahead of the game today. Mike Parzial, Yankees and Mets might not win the deadline, but ESB always are winners. Pars, we love you, buddy. Really do appreciate it. Our very own Sierra Poteet, one of the hosts of A Bronx Take. Also, Corey, the fantasy baseball points hate me. It's been a while since we actually did a fantasy baseball check-in. I know I'm probably still around the bottom third. Maybe I'm in dead last in that league. I haven't really paid attention. I haven't done a great job, but we'll do a fantasy baseball check-in over the next couple of weeks. Jack Esposito, what's going on, Jack? We got Hitman in the building. We got our guy Keith in the building. Shout out to Keith, one of our favorite Mets fans that we know. Love you, Keith. Good to see you in here. Jordan Tyler is also here. We got Joey Bag of Donuts. Okay, gents, I got my friend's handicap sticker for Joe's Traces. Good Lord, man. Okay, well, listen, Joey, good to hear you. Good to see you. Christy Evans, another part of the ESB family at Bronx Take. 2-on-1 today. Sounds like a party. Don't worry, folks. Tom's going to be joining us real shortly. And we got CK here. What's up, ESP family?
Nobody was actually worried that Tom.
And shout out to my guy, Andrew, as well. But before we get into our rundown, as always, it is promoted by Roback. And usually Tom is the one to call out Roback. So I'm going to give the responsibility over to Joe to touch on Roback. What do you got for us?
Okay. You can go over to Roback and use the code TWASPL15. To get a 15% off discount with your order. Go over there if you like polo shirts, if you like summer apparel, if you like light, high quality, dressy / summery outfits, that's a place to go. I got a bunch of polo shirts from them. They're phenomenal. I wear them almost every day to work. They're great. You can wear them golfing. You can wear them out to the bar. You can wear them out to the beach if you want. So go over there. Don't forget Wospil15 at checkout, 15% off. Buy yourself something nice. Buy your father, your brother, your uncle something nice. And go check them out. And they do have some stuff for women. So like if you're Sierra, you're looking for some nice clothes, Sierra. I know that's hard. You got to find clothes that work at the gym. They got some gym clothes there. So you go over, Wospil15, Sierra. You got it.
There you go. Wospil15. Also wanted to throw one more comment. A returning commenter, we say at least. I think he figured out his password to Google here. Shout out to our guy Boogie. Mr. Stream, I'm back. Boogie is in the building. Boogie, again, one of the other hosts of A Bronx Take. So we've completed the quartet of A Bronx Take hosts that are here tonight. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. And really appreciate you, Joe, for the Roback promo. But it's now time for the Roback rundown. And for tonight's episode, we have the Empire Express. Then we got Book It. We'll get into Matt's Took's series pick and player to watch. We also have a fun segment, one that we've done every year since the beginning of the show, date back to 2022. Well, we're within 10 days of the trade deadline. So, of course, we're going to get into each of our trade mocks, our proposals, what we would like to see our team realistically do ahead of the July 31st deadline. So that's going to be our main event for tonight's show. And then we can finish things off, as always, with our game, tonight's game being lineup card, one of my favorites. But, Corey, Joe, let's continue the groveling over the New York Mets and their poor play as of late. And, Corey, I'll throw it over to you, man. As we look, entering today, Mets 4-6 in their last 10 games. Not a great split there. 56-44. Still a half a game out of the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League East Division there, Corey.
I'll tell you what, I mean, we're really getting lucky here that the Phillies are also in a brutal stretch of baseball right now, because the Phillies going to put a 5, 6, 7 game lead on the Mets. But they're not doing that good. They're hot, cold, win a game, lose two. And that's what the Mets seem to be doing now also. They get a win. You think, all right, this is going to be it. This is going to be, we're going to start to break free. And then they lose the next 1 or 2 games. And again, you're not making any forward traction. I feel like the last 4 weeks here, we've been hovering around like 12, 13 games above 500, basically treading water. We're very, very fortunate, again, to only be a half game out, considering how rough it's been. And the team right now, it seems to be the same stories every day. The starting pitching, not going deep in games. The games tend to be pretty close. They're not giving up a lot of runs. I know today Senga was 4 through 3. That sucks. But typically the starting pitching is actually holding it down pretty well. And you can see that 3.58 ERA, first in the National League. So they're doing okay from that department. But then the bullpen comes in, and then something stupid happens. They make a stupid error in the field, or a reliever comes in, immediately gives up a home run, and they lose the game. If it's not that, it's them not executing with runners in scoring position. And it seems like every time, first and second and third, 1 out, strikeout, or double play to end the inning. And it's the same story every single night. And then the games, if they're close, all of a sudden they're threatening late in the game. They tease you a little bit. They like to do a little bit of a strip tease, get guys on in the 8th inning, get guys on in the 9th inning. They'll score a run, and they do the same friggin' crap. They get out of it, and they don't score a run, and they lose the game. They're lucky that they're, again, a half game out right now. I don't know how, but again, it's a shame, because this team was 21, 22 games over 500 just over
Hold
a
on
month
1 second.
ago.
I hate to interrupt you, Corey. Tom, are you enjoying your ice that you're just chewing on over there?
Guy comes in late, looks like he's off of LASIK surgery.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I'm not doing this.
Come on.
Go ahead, Corey. Continue. I'm sorry.
Tom's mic is too loud.
Yeah, I'm just just saying we're very, very fortunate to be where we are today in the standings, because if the Phillies weren't playing this bad, Oh my God, it would be absolutely disgraceful right now.
Well, it's not just the Phillies playing bad. The Dodgers are playing worse baseball than the Mets. The Dodgers have stunk, and they've maintained a 3.5 lead on their division because the Padres are kind of playing at 500. San Francisco's fallen off, and the Diamondbacks are 500 even. So the entire NL, nobody's really differentiated themselves. The Cubs and the Brewers have the two best records in the NL.
Yep.
Nobody would have called that before the season started. I could guarantee you that. It's just one of those things. It's frustrating. Pete's not hitting at this point, at least not to the standard he was early in the season. Lindor, since he broke his toe, has had an awful stretch of 20 or so games. Soto is hitting, but he's not hitting with runners in scoring position. He just popped out with a man on first base. It's a weird dynamic going on with the Mets right now, and the Angels should be a team that they can handle. They should, even though they played the Yankees well last week, the Mets should be able to handle a team like the Angels. So we got to see. They should have been able to handle the Reds. They gave a game away against the Reds, which was frustrating. They almost had a game at the end on David Wright Day of all days. You couldn't win the game. Soto missed a game tying home run by like an inch. And then struck out on a ball that the check swing that he did not go on. So it's frustrating. The Mets need a little bit of life in there. They recalled Alvarez, who hit how many home runs did he hit, Corey? 9 home runs in 11 games or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was 11 and 16 or something along
11
those
and
lines.
16. So, and listen, Alvarez is not a AAA player. It remains to be seen what kind of MLB player he is, but he is not a AAA player. The only saving grace right now is there's nobody really chasing the Mets down at the moment. The Braves are done. We said it on the Spaces today, Rich. They had a chance coming out of the All-Star break that was in their building to set the tone against the Yankees. And what they do, they blew an 8-0 lead against the Yankees. And the second they lost that game, the Braves season was over. The Braves are done. You can pack that. You can back up the truck. They are officially done. The Marlins are not hunting the Mets down as well as better as they've been playing. They're not hunting the Mets down. So the Mets are kind of comfortable right now, but you need to find life somewhere. Is it a trade? Is it Alvarez coming back? Is it somebody stepping up like a Mauricio or a Vientos or a Beatty? They need a little life, and the top 4 guys need somebody else to step up and be part of the solution right now. Right now, it's Lindor, Alonso, Soto, Nimmo, and maybe a little bit of McNeil sprinkled in there. Outside of that, the bottom guys have been terrible. So they need more length in that lineup. I don't think they're getting a starting pitcher at the deadline, even though we'll see our trades later. But my hunch is they probably do not go get a starter at the deadline, and they add a bat, and more importantly, they have bullpen help.
Anthony DiComo tweets out here, the Mets continue to drain their bullpen. They're pulling Kodai Senga after just 3 innings and 73 pitches in his first start of the second half. Senga's final line, 3 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned, 3 walks, 5 Ks. Going to be another long night for the relief corps. And, Joe, you
mentioned... question for you, now that I'm done chewing my ice. Yeah, Rich, it's my show. Shut up. So you said do you think the Mets don't need starting pitching, won't get starting pitching, or you don't want them to get starting pitching?
I think at this point they're going to focus elsewhere. I think they believe now that Senga and Minaya are back, that rotation's complete in terms of what they're going to do for the rest of the year. And remember, Tyler McGill is going to come back, so he gives you another arm out there. If all 6 are healthy, you do have enough starting pitching to get you through. And if worse comes to worse, it finally looks like Brandon Sprout in AAA has found it. He hasn't given up. I think he's given up 1 earned run in his last 6 or 7 starts. So are
you talking get them through the season, or how do you feel about that into a playoff series with those starters?
It depends on how Senga and Minaya are playing. If Senga is up to the standard that he's been up to all year, that's fine. If Minaya is pitching like he did last year, that's fine. Would I like another big time starter? Yes. I just don't think that's available, to be honest with you. That doesn't come with some risks. Sandy Alcantara and Zach Gallen should be big time starters. They're not pitching like big time starters at the moment. And B, I don't think the Mets are giving up the capital needed to go get that caliber of starting pitcher.
Well, can I propose this? And I don't know if this is something that's been touched on in Met spaces and just by hosts. I'm just looking at what the Mets currently have, and yes, arguably they have a starting rotation that can get them through the rest of this season, and then you run with your 3 or 4 best for the postseason, but. In what looks like is going to be a very aggressive market for relief pitching, one name that comes to mind, and it's something we touched on as early as he signed a contract with the New York Mets. But how about the idea of acquiring a starting pitcher via the trade deadline and moving Clay Holmes back into a back end relief role? Wouldn't that solve a couple of problems with just one move right there? If you can get Clay Holmes fixed into a role that he's been used to.
Listen, I don't think the Mets do it because the Mets came into it with the plan that he's your guy. But on paper, I actually love it. I think it's a great move because he's a guy who could easily go out there and get you 2 or 3 really strong innings. And you look at the games that he starts, he gets through 4 pretty much without an issue. Run here, that's fine. The 5th inning, you start to see a shift, and by the 6th inning, he's falling apart. I think he's only gotten through 6 innings once or twice this year. I almost think if they don't go that route of moving in the bullpen, and I don't think they do, I think I absolutely hate openers. I think he's the perfect arm that you need an opener for. So that way you're starting off 1, 2, 3. You take Holmes out of the pen. He's used to the pen. 2nd inning onwards, try to get 5 out of him and then make it a 3-inning game, 7th, 8th, 9th inning when it's done. I think that's the plan they have to do with Holmes. So I don't think they move him strictly to the pen.
I honestly, I don't think they move him back unless they come to a conclusion where Holmes runs out of steam, is at the upper end of the innings that they projected him to be at. And then they say, okay, instead of you making 4 more starts, you go to the bullpen and you pitch half the innings that you would for 4 more starts for the rest of the year. Unless that happens, I don't see them doing that. They're not doing it pre-deadline. They signed Holmes to be a starter. They're not going to, and it's not like he's pitched awful, right? Like he's been good this year. He's had some shaky moments. He's definitely not an ace, but at the moment you have Senga, Minaya. You're hoping that they're back to their game, and not for nothing, David Peterson's been phenomenal this year. So I think
the best starter.
I think the Mets believe that they have 3 starters that can get them through the rest of the season. I believe they got those 3 guys that they believe in. The question is, do they believe in Holmes to be the 4th guy in the playoff rotation or not? Do they believe in Montas to be the guy? I can see a scenario where the playoffs roll around and they say, Clay, we need you in the bullpen for the playoffs because Montas will be the 4th starter, which I wouldn't be thrilled about. But I could see them doing that, and that would give them an extra weapon out of the bullpen. But for the regular season, I don't see Holmes going into the pen unless circumstances arise where he has to.
But let's switch over to the New York Yankees side of the Empire Express. Quick 2 shout-outs here. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers joining us from X. I'm here for the ESB golf outing. Yes, Tom, there is talk that a lot of folks would love to see ESB host a golf outing. Now, I'm not a big golfer, but I know you are. I know Joe is. We have the Roback.
I hear you guys absolutely butchered the Roback reading according to the chat. So
I did.
I wasn't prepared for it. You're supposed to be here.
Yeah,
I texted you guys 10 minutes for the show.
I know, but that wasn't enough to memorize your read.
I don't. There's nothing I memorized. We just go. Some of us have natural talent.
It could have also just been as easily as, just this T Waspil 15. We'll see you there. I mean, would have saved us some time, but it's all good. Joe gave it a valiant effort, but yeah, there was talk about a potential ESB golf outing, maybe in the future. I know we got some big golf heads in here, so possibly we'll see what happens. Jacob Petruzzi over under 2 mentions of Seth Lugo. Well, I guess that counts as 1 mention right there. So I guess we're already doing pretty good. Hope the show is going great. Thank you, Li. That's like the nicest thing he's ever said. All right, now let's move on to the Yankee side of the house. Thomas, good weekend for the Yanks. It looked like it was going to be a bleak start to their second half. They go with Ian Hamilton as an opener for whatever reason on Friday, and I don't care. There's no way, Thomas, anybody can go out there and say what they did on Friday made any sense in the world. Starting the season with Ian Hamilton after the fucking All-Star break, where you reset your rotation.
Well,
doesn't make no sense.
Well, I mean, Max Fried has a blister, and they wanted to get Fried and Rodon against the Jays. So there wasn't a lot of other options.
They called up Alan Winans, who's logged in innings in AAA. They had Will Warren start the very next day. They had options.
They were going to do it one of the 2 days. So who cares if it's the first or the second?
To me, it's crazy because then, and I heard the
if Fried doesn't have a blister,
they wanted to set up their rotation so they can face Toronto and have their three best.
I think there's a lot more to do with.
They lost the Friday game and Toronto won their Friday game, so effectively they did lose to Toronto on Friday. So it doesn't even freaking matter. Anyway, I'm not even gonna let the Friday thing bother me because what they did in Game 2 was awesome. Easily their win of the year. That comeback, Joe kind of sketched it out perfectly there. The Braves had many opportunities to close that game out. The Yankees kept fighting back. I mean, I think that's a testament to their offense, Tom. I think we just kind of want to see a little bit more of that in the longer stretch of the season.
Yeah, Volpe, he showed up. That was nice of Anthony to do. Hopefully, he can carry that momentum into the series in Toronto. But yeah, the offense woke up. It was guys. It was Grisham getting a big hit. He hasn't got a big hit. Feels like in a while. It really felt like everyone kind of contributing for the most part. I know not everyone had a great series, but it was fun to see. It was a game that earlier in the year you would have just ripped the Yankees off like, oh, they have no shot. They're going to lose. This is done. Let's turn it off. And then they fought back. And listen, the Braves might have given them chances, but good teams take advantage of those chances, and bad teams let them go by the wayside. Yeah, listen, the Yankees give other teams plenty of chances, so it's you take them where you can get them. And then yesterday was just kind of like a nice, good win. Marcus Stroman giving you 6 innings, 1 run. He gave up an absolute nuke to Matt Olson, but other than that, Joe Pugliese was crying watching it. I heard he texted us. He sent a video.
Joe Pugliese wanted the Yankees to finish the Braves season. Don't kid yourself.
No, but you hate Marcus Stroman so much, so you couldn't accept it.
He served his purpose. They ended the Braves season ended on Saturday.
We had audio proof.
Yeah.
Joe was all for it.
We're not going to release the files, but the files did exist.
And Ozuna's gone.
They never existed. I don't know.
Iglesias is probably gone. They're selling. They're gonna be a shell of themselves the rest of the year. They're gonna be a dangerous shell of themselves, but they're still gonna be a shell. And that coming out of the All-Star break, that buried them. They're done.
Braves are going to be in. I know this is our time to talk about the Yankees, but a quick tangent. Braves are going to be a real interesting kind of case study. Every team was in love with what they were doing a couple of years ago, signing all these guys to these long-term deals where they were young and they were relatively cheap. I guess not with thinking like, what if Ozzie Albies ends up stinking? And then they're kind of committed to all these guys, and if not for a ton of money, but for a long time, like if those guys like fall off like major league players do all the time, that's gonna be terrible. But that's not what we're talking about now.
It's Albies.
Listen, Tom, you would feel for them, but they won a championship in this era with their players. So,
well, they did, but they also won a championship before they kind of spent all that money.
I think they should trade Acuna. They could
now
think about it.
Like over the next 10 days.
Think about it. Who can you find a better bat anywhere? Acuna changes the landscape of the playoffs in baseball, right? If he moves, the team that acquires him, like let's say the Tigers get him. The Tigers are already probably the favorite in the AL at this point. The Tigers become probably the favorite in all of MLB if they get Acuna.
But the
Yeah,
Braves,
and-
the
and
Braves
they
have
got
to
the
say to
fire.
themselves, do they think they're going to be legitimate contenders next year? And you know, they got talent. If guys come back healthy, they got talent.
And I'm
If
sorry.
they think they're going to be in it next year, you got to keep Acuna. But
No,
you
but
would
I'm
get a
sorry,
king's
I'm
ransom.
sorry. You got to also look at it this way. The guy's had 2 ACL surgeries
Also
in
true.
the last 4 years. There's a chance if he hurts his knee, if he loses a knee again, they could get a haul for him. If he got hurt again, he could be basically a DH at this point.
So Acuna's
Brett Beatty
deal-
home run 4-2.
Oh, there you go. So 4-2, 4-2 in favor of the Angels as far as the Mets trying to climb back. The Acuna contract, by the way, very congestible. At $12.5 million year over year. That runs through 2026 before he hits the 2 team options, and effectively it's a 3-year deal because no team in their right mind would not fucking take $12.5 million in Ronald Acuna year over year. So you're essentially, if you're trading him now, you get 3.5 years of Ronald Acuna. It's just a matter of what teams are out there, and I can't believe I'm going to talk about this, but what teams are out there that have the firepower to pull this off? Because it's not only you're getting
he has a no trade clause.
Top 5 player in baseball, 3.5 years of control, and he's making $12.5 million year over year.
Well,
He has a no trade clause. I don't see him agreeing to go to Detroit. It would have to be a big market team.
Here's the thing. Detroit turns around and offers Kevin McGonigal and Max Clark 2 top 10 prospects in the game. McGonigal's a shortstop and Clark's an outfielder. That resets the Braves and gets them 2 young controllable players, and that gives the Tigers an all-world bat to stick in the middle of their lineup.
Yeah, except Ronald Acuna looks up what's the weather in Detroit in April and says, "Oh, veto," or I'm not going there.
Well, the thing is, he's got a championship. I mean, I
don't think there's exactly why would he want to go to Detroit? If anything, if he's going somewhere, it would have to be a New York team, a California. It'd have to be a spot he'd want.
I'm just saying that kind of deal would be one of the big trades of the decade, and just I think would make a lot of sense for both franchises and where they are. The Braves could turn around, build around Matt Olson, Austin Riley, and the 2 young studs that they get from the Tigers, a couple of young studs they get from the Tigers, and the Tigers can go challenge for a World Series.
Thing with that too, it's just the timing. It's to get a blockbuster like that. I don't know when the last time we saw a legit blockbuster like that.
I
more than what Joe was also saying.
For the player it is. For the control, for the money, I'm sorry, that's a deal that can't happen in the next 10 days. That's a deal that happens in the offseason. You know, when you have everybody at play. I think that and Joe, I like your thought process of it. At the end of the day, like, yeah, the Braves can get a crap ton of value, and I still don't think the value they can get now is not going to be too far removed from the value they can get in the offseason. So I think with more teams in play, more farm systems in play, I think it's something that happens in the winter, not something that happens over the next 10 days. But I love your thinking. It would be very interesting that they pull it off. But with the Yankees, back to them real quick, and we'll end here on the Empire Express. Look ahead. Obviously, Tom, they're in the middle of a big series here. They got the Toronto Blue Jays, 3 games. Currently, the Jays just took the lead. It's now 2-1 Blue Jays following a Bo Bichette RBI double. So the Jays are now up. Carlos Rodon, who is dealing for the first 4 innings, gives up 2 runs here. Tom, what are your expectations with this series here? This is a big series for the New York Yankees. It's just, hey, look, this take 2 out of 3 and let's roll. It does a series loss put them out of the American League East for a good amount of time. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, that doesn't eliminate them from the East. I mean, pull the standings back up. It wouldn't bury them if they lost the series. You don't want to lose a series. I think just for the Yankees' psyche a little bit, after things went so wrong in Toronto, like 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, it wasn't that long ago. I think they need to win the series. I think it just kind of gets the momentum going. They had the momentum should be going after the comeback in Atlanta. And then again, the good game on Sunday, that hopefully they can rally here. They're down 1. It's, hopefully if Rodon can get out of this inning, you got plenty of time left to make the comeback. But I think just kind of for their for them moving on, you can't just let Toronto kind of do this. Now, that being said, Toronto is one of the biggest chokers in not even all of Major League Baseball, and just in all professional sports. Like there's maybe no team that's had more hype, that has had little to show for it than the Toronto Blue Jays. So I'm not worried. I want the Yankees to win the series. I want the Yankees to win the division. But if they don't, it's not like the Blue Jays are going to like run anywhere with it. They stink. They're chokers, and they always blow it.
You can't have your two top of the rotation pitchers set up to pitch the series and lose the series.
You can. It's not what you want, but you can.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't. No, but
you absolutely should not.
Like Joe, if they lose the series, should like Cashman and Hal have a joint press conference on Thursday and say, "Listen, we're just not playing anymore"? Like, like that? That's what I hate about. I'll be honest. I hate these like hyperbolic. Like, if they lose the series, no, it's not. There's still like 50, 60 games left. Like, if they lose the series, they still listen. The season's not over. Is it going to be hard to win the division? Yes. If they don't win the division, are they done? No. It's just you got to keep moving on. And that's where like. I know Boone gets a lot of shit for his like it's right in front of us and all that kind of stuff, but like at the same time, like you can't just like I know like the Twitter verse and all the other idiots out there like to just dwell on it and like it's just doom and gloom, but like if you have that mindset, you can't wake up the next day and play, because if you do, then you're just gonna keep losing. You have to forget it and you have to move on. And no, I don't want them to lose the series. They shouldn't lose the series. They have two of their two best starting pitchers going. Hopefully Fried's blisters will be fully healed so we can kind of full max Fried. Rodon's a little bit sputtering right now, so he'll get through the fifth, and that'll be about it for him. But if they lose the series, what are you going to do? Hey, let's win the next series. No, I don't know what else we want people to do.
Boogie, here goes Tom. The Blue Jays are really good. They aren't going anywhere this season. I predicted they would win the AL East this season. So confidence there.
Yeah, the Blue Jays always suck. I'm sorry, Boogie, but the Blue Jays always suck. They always blow it. The whole this is the trailer to the movie bullshit. Yeah, they always choke. That's what they always do. And play this back in 3 months or whatever when the Blue Jays are like winning the ALCS, I guess. But you know what? They probably won't, because they're chokers and they always suck.
The Jose Bautista, Josh Donaldson Blue Jays were pretty good. That was their window at the time.
And those teams won nothing. They didn't even get to an LCS, I don't think.
They did. They got to an LCS and lost to Kansas City.
They did.
And then Kansas City went
to one LCS and lost
to meet the Mets in the World Series. We know how that went.
I'll take you up for that.
Listen, well, I had another question on the Empire Express, but honestly, I'm going to save that for extra innings tonight in regards to protecting young assets on teams prior to the trade deadline. But we'll save that for later on tonight. But let's touch on
everyone who was all Boogie. Half the people who are on those 92 and 93 teams are probably dead at this point. I don't want to hear it.
Christ, Tom.
He's not wrong. But Corey Favs, go ahead.
Joe Carter's still around.
Go ahead and follow us on Instagram at Empire State of Baseball. You'll find our archived meme reels, graphics from various segments in the show. Right now, we got the country wheel, and it's coming to a close pretty soon. Should have it done this week. Only 2 roster spots left to fill. So go ahead and follow us at Empire State of Baseball, and you could join our 7,300 followers and growing. And all of us individually, myself at Corey Favs, Joe at JR Pugs, Rich at Rich Rivera, and Tom at T Wospil.
Next week we'll do the full reveal of that roster on the show next week, because by the time next week, unless Corey, you just don't hit it big with the wheel over the next few, got to stop, landing on Czechoslovakia or whatever the hell for the next few days. And we should have a full roster by the time we do our next show. So we'll figure it out. 104 people in the building. Shout out to you all. Really do appreciate it. But it's now time to get into Book It, presented by Book with Took Travel. Make sure to give Book with Took Travel a follow on Instagram. And with that said, let's go to Book's pick of the week.
What's up, ESB crew? Took us back with Took's Book It pick of the week. This week we're going to have the Mariners versus the Brewers. This matchup features some elite pitching matchups tonight. We got Woodruff versus Kirby. Tomorrow is Gilbert versus Mizorowski. But I'm going to pick the all-star this year, who, to me, hasn't really lived up to his potential. I think he's a bit of a bust, but I'm going to go with J-Rod. I think J-Rod's going to carry the Mariners to win this series. What do you guys got? Book it.
Book it. All right, so he's got Mariners, Brewers. Mariners taking the Milwaukee Brewers for a series that's getting underway today. Here, boys. Let's get around the room. We'll start with you, Corey Favs. He's got Seattle over Milwaukee. J-Rod as the player to watch. What are you feeling on this series here?
Listen, I hope it's Seattle. I want to see the Brewers start to falter a little bit, but they are white hot, and I think the Brewers are going to win the series until proven otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going against Tucker's sterling record of 6-17.
Lord. All-Star break was not kind to
talk about a renaissance. Brendan Woodruff, I know it's only been a couple starts back. He's been phenomenal. 18 strikeouts in his first 10 innings back. People forgot how good this guy was. He's back. He's healthy. He looks like he's going to be a factor down the stretch for a team that's making a postseason push. So I'm going to take the Brewers over the Mariners.
I mean, you said it there, Joe. Toke's record stinks. That is a terrible, horrendous record. So just on that, I didn't listen to anything else anyone said. I'm taking the Brewers, and I'm just betting against Toke. Love you, Toke, but my God, your picks suck.
Oh my.
Sorry. Listen.
Peraza made a throwing error.
When it comes down to what do you got here?
Peraza made a throwing error. 3-1 Blue Jays.
Okay, so Toronto up 3-1, and the Yankees, who looked like they had a game in hand with Rodon shoving here. It does not look so good here.
Come on, we got to use the term "shove it" very loosely. He's got 5 walks and 3 strikeouts. Rich,
I said was shoving. He's not
going to get through the 5th inning.
Okay. All right. So 3-1 Toronto as we monitor game 1 of a big 3-game series between 2 AL East foes. For me, for this set, Mariners, Brewers, let's go. You know what? Listen, I'm here with Matt. Let's get him a win here. I got Seattle beating the Brewers 2 out of 3 games here. I don't think J-Rod will be the player to watch, much to what he said. I'm not the biggest J-Rod fan. I think the player to watch here will be J.P. Crawford, the shortstop of the Seattle Mariners. So let's roll with that for Book It. And that is our guy, Took. Make sure to give him a follow again. Book with Took Travel on Instagram for all your Disney Universal Studio booking travel needs. Okay, before we get into our trade proposals, let's get into YouTube. And with that, let's throw it over to Joe. Joe, you see, you got a second chance at this. Go ahead.
All right. We are live on Instagram and X, but YouTube is our preferred platform. Why? We can interact with you guys in the chat. We can make you part of the show. So go over to our YouTube channel, go over to Empire State of Baseball, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like the videos. Subscriptions are free. We are at 480 subscribers and counting. Once we get to 500, we're going to do a giveaway. So it's not too far away. We've gained about 10 subscribers in the last week, which is great. Corey's all-country team is doing good work for us. So please go over there, subscribe, hit that button, and help us get to 500, and we will do a giveaway. Last giveaway was 2 autographed baseball cards. We'll leave the names of those autographs off of the promo.
Smart man. Hey, listen, they were free, they were fun, they were good at the time, but we'll leave it at that.
One of them had an impactful play today, and one of them they both had impactful plays today. One of them just was a bad impact. The other one was a good impact.
The other threw the ball home.
Absolutely. Complete different trajectories for those 2 players, but still, autograph cards are cool, and I'm sure we're going to do something more.
Volpe just made an error.
Oh God,
Volpe throwing error. So
now it's 4-1 Toronto here,
and he's back.
So going well for the New York Yankees here. Okay, now let's get into it. This is the main event for tonight's show. Something we've been running for the last 4 years on the show, where we get to piss off all the seller fan bases out there with our crappy trade proposals. Dates all the way back, Thomas, to 2022, where I was like, hey, listen, folks, They got this guy, Brian Reynolds, over at Pittsburgh. He's not making crap. Let's go trade Oswald Peraza and Ken Waldichuk to get him, and then had all of Pittsburgh Pirates' 53 fans on me for a good 3 months after.
That was great.
Maybe we can match that sort of energy since we've grown a little bit since with some of these trades. But I tasked our host here to come up with 2 realistic trade proposals that they would like to see not only their teams put out there, but execute by the July 31st deadline. And with 10 days to go, it's time we bring back a tradition. Let's get into our mock trades for 2025. And kicking things off, we'll go back and forth between fan bases. We'll start with the Mets. Corey, I'm going to throw it to you first for the first 2 trades. So go through your two trades, and we'll see how it looks on a projected roster after the deadline. So get us started with this one, where the Mets are working with a National League Central team for their first trade.
Well, listen, you mentioned pissing off the Pirates. Well, here we go. Another Pirates deal here. If you're looking at the Mets deadline needs, my particular take in order would be offense, bullpen, rotation. Those are your 3 needs. That's the order I would tackle it. Now, this trade's hitting 2 of the 3, not the most important one right now, which is getting more offensive consistency. But Mitch Keller has been a name linked to the Mets over the last 3 weeks or so as a possible trade target. What makes him a lucrative option is you have control for several more seasons. From a Mets standpoint, too, you might be able to give up a little less by absorbing all the money from the Pirates, because you would think 14 a year, then 16 a year, then a year, which honestly, when you compare that to a middle of the order arm on free agency, that's probably slightly better than the going rate we saw last offseason. So
16, 18, 20.
Yep.
Thank you. Yep. So 16, 18, 20. I think that's right on par, if not just below what an arm of his caliber would get on free agency. David Bednar would solve a big need with the bullpen. He instantly becomes your setup guy. So what do the Pirates want? The Pirates really need offense and major league ready or near ready offense. So Ronnie Mauricio, again, the numbers aren't pretty, but he's a major leaguer at this point in time.
Is he?
Gilbert, I know at one point he was the Mets number 1 or number 2. He's fallen down a little bit, but he's honestly 1 outfield injury away from being in the starting lineup for the Mets. So he's on the cusp. Jesus Baez, I know number 7, again, looks a little bit low in terms of a big deal, but he's fastly rising up the Mets boards. He's got some pop. He's got some potential. And Don Hamill, it's just like a kind of a toss in there, see what happens. The big thing when it comes to these type of trades, too, we don't know how other teams judge the farm systems. We might see a guy who's ranked 7th in our system, but the Pirates might say he's the 3rd best in our system. You might have a guy that's outside the top 10 in one system, instantly becomes a top 10 prospect in the other teams, just based on how they judge it. So, again, I don't know how realistic this type of trade is, but I think it solves the Mets standpoint. You're getting an arm, and you're getting an arm that's going to be here for a couple more years, and you're getting a bullpen piece, which will help you right now.
There you go. So, Joe, real quick before we turn over to Corey's second trade, your thoughts on this deal?
Yeah, I'd probably say if you're giving up Mauricio, you could probably take one of Baez or Gilbert out, and probably still be a little. It'd probably still be even. I don't know particularly if they would have interest in Gilbert. Gilbert's been very spotty since he's come over to the Mets. He has had a recent hot streak. I think he was actually ranked 15. I think MLB did an update, a post-draft update recently. I think he was down to 15 on there. So, but yeah, I honestly, I had a very similar trade initially with the Pirates. So Corey, I didn't want to do the same one as Corey. So, but Mitch Keller is one of those guys where you're trying to take a good pitcher out of a bad situation, give him to a team that gets some run support, and you would probably have good results because of that. Is he an ace? No. But is he a middle of the rotation kind of guy that's going to, pitch close to 180 innings, 190 innings every single year? Yes. And that's what makes him valuable, and something that the Mets could use is a consistently healthy pitcher to put in that rotation. So, yeah, no objection.
All right.
And Corey hit the nail on the head with the evaluation of the players. So that's where the part we always reiterate we don't know. I would think with Bednar getting a year and a half of control and Mitch Keller getting 2.5 years of control, you're probably going to have to part with some sizable prospects.
Keller looks like it's 3.5 years of control.
3.5 years, so even more. I mean, I don't. Again, do the Pirates see Jesus Baez as the Mets' #1 prospect? Maybe, but the Pirates in a trade like this are going to get what at least they consider a top 5 and a top 10.
I think a deal like this, I think the 4 that Corey presented, I think realistically just gets Keller alone. That's how much starting pitching is going for. And Bednar, if I feel like Bednar was less than a controllable asset, then maybe he would be able to go in this deal. Starting pitching is a premium. We saw last year, even a guy like Trevor Rogers. I always pointed this example for what the Orioles ended up giving up to get a guy like Trevor Rogers. They have a guy who became an all-star this year, Kyle Stowers, and Connor Norby, who's a solid infielder. So you have to pay for starting pitching, especially controllable starting pitching. So I think for what Corey you put up there, I think that definitely could net you Keller. I don't know if it gets both, but I like the thinking, though. You're getting 2 needs out of 1 move, and I think it's a model that a lot of teams have to face over the next 10 days of trying to solve multiple issues with 1 swoop, and that's what you got here. So let's take a look at your second trade, though.
Yeah, the second trade, again, it hits on the bullpen need. And again, the Mets could use a couple of relievers. So this one, Reed Detmers from the lefty side. I know L.I. Yankee King's going to love that one. Or hate it because he wants to be on the Yankees. But it also helps on the offensive side. Now, the thing with the Mets and offense, the 2 biggest positions of need is center field or third base. I think third base at this point, you're probably running between Beatty, Vientos, or Mauricio, assuming he's still on the team. So how do you get the offense? Center field then becomes the next possible piece. But I don't think there's a lot of good center fielders on the market. If you're trying to get offensive improvement on what you have now, which is basically a combination of Tyrone Taylor and Jeff McNeil when he's out there in center field, look at the options. I mean, Luis Robert Jr., yeah, he's got the potential. He's hitting a lower average than Tyrone Taylor. Granted, a little more pop, but you're talking about OPS still 631 as opposed to Tyrone Taylor's 572. So is it an improvement? Yes, but not by that much. You're just getting improvement in potential, really. What are the other options? Mullins, right? Mullins, again, a decent option, but at this point, Jeff McNeil is probably giving you slightly better offensive metrics than Mullins. Mullins gives you a little more pop, a little more speed, but McNeil is going to be higher on the average. So not the biggest improvement there on offense. You want to change this lineup and get an impact bat to kind of lengthen the lineup. How about the team they're playing right now with the Angels and Taylor Ward, another guy who's under contract 1 more year after this year, so it's not a one-and-done deal. I think Stearns doesn't really want to go all in on the rental moves. So it gives you a guy for next year, 23 home runs, 73 RBIs. That's a big piece for the lineup. Now, the thing with Taylor Ward is he plays left field. He actually played a little bit of third base early in his career, but he's primarily a left fielder. I think what the Mets end up doing at that point, if they bring in this type of bat, you're probably going to have him DH quite a bit. It gives you an opportunity to rest Nimmo a couple of days a week, keep him fresh, and you swap them between the DH spot. If you want to give Soto a blow, put him there. If you want to put Nimmo in center field for a game, so be it. You could do that too. So it gives the Mets a little bit of options while still keeping quality guys in the lineup. And I just think that really lengthens the lineup there too. I mean, all of a sudden, your bottom half of the order is pretty good. You're getting good pop at 6 and some potential at 7, 8, and 9 if at least one of those 3 kids could do something. In terms of what you're giving up, yeah, you're going to have to give up some pieces to get that type of pop. So I do have Brendan Sproat going out there, 5th ranked overall. At one point was the 1 or 2 for the Mets. Boston Barrow, another guy.
Does not like that.
No,
I know. Joe's a big Barrow guy.
Way too much.
Guy. You got to give up something to get something.
Yeah,
right?
but you're not getting that great of players here. Reed Detmers is an experiment in the bullpen. You don't really know what he is. He's got potential. Maybe the pitching lab can do something with him. But Taylor Ward is all right. He's got a lot of pop, but he doesn't bring much else besides the pop. Give up your 5th ranked prospect, who is a top 100 guy, and plus 3 more. You're 12, 13, and 14. I think that's a lot. And Tidwell's pitching depth. You're giving up your top two starters who are your pitching depth off of AAA.
You got to pay up though, guys. We see this every deadline. Like, you could think of what would this is an overpay, but like that's what they go for. It's the same like free agent deals. Like, fine, if you want to hug their prospects, go ahead, then just see what happens.
No, I get that, but I don't think the problem is if I'm giving up that kind of package, I want game changers. I don't think Detmers is not a game changer, and I don't think Ward's a game changer, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. I Bednar is a game changer. If that was the return for the first one, and you include Sprout in the first one, fine. That you're getting to borderline game changers, one in Bednar being your setup man and the other one being a starter that's going to eat 200 innings a year. I can live with that.
Listen, if I make you feel a little bit better here, Joe, Reed Detmers coming out of the bullpen, over his last 30 innings pitch, 1.20 ERA, and he struck out 40 batters in those 30 innings pitched. So Detmers has shown improvement out of that role, and let's face it, as a lefty that you have control over, I mean, that's a good.
That's a lot. That's a lot of guys paying for 30 innings of evidence. That's a lot to pay.
The thing with Ward, though, you're getting control at a good price too. I think he's got 1, maybe 2 more years left on his deal too. So that's the thing. Again, would I make this move if Ward had an expiring contract? No, I wouldn't. But it's an interesting option to get some pop.
I kind of agree with Joe said. I think this would be a better package for that first deal. I think you're getting more in that first deal. You're getting a starting pitcher for 3.5 years, and you're getting Bednar for 1.5 years, and he's been really. I know he set down earlier this year, but he's been really good since he's been back.
And that's the thing, Corey. If you did both of these deals, Hamill, Tidwell, and Sprout are your 3 prospects that are all in AAA. If you give up all 3 of those and you have a couple pitchers go down, there's nobody to replace them.
Well, you already have a 6-man rotation. You're going to get back McGill. You're going to get back asshole Blackburn.
Assuming that those
there. McLean's close. Tom's not coming up this year.
McLean and Tom are not coming up this year. They don't have they're capped out at 140 innings this year. They're not coming up this year unless he feels compelled to put McLean in the bullpen at the end of the year. They are not under any circumstances.
I'll tell you what, if you don't do that deal and you don't get Mitch Keller and 1 or 2 more arms get hurt, you're in the World Series with Blade Tidwell anyway. You might win the League.
Well, yeah, I mean, at that point,
Interesting note from our good buddy Keith here goes, I can't wait for folks to realize how overrated Sprout is. That's an interesting comment. I mean, I haven't heard much of Brandon Sprout since we did cover him last year in our prospect bit, but has he taken a tail back?
He's had none of us know anything about any of these guys.
He's had trouble in AAA. He recently turned it around. His last 7 starts have been phenomenal. He's only given up a handful of runs his last 7 starts. And he's looked like the pitcher that they originally brought him up. But he definitely had a learning curve. His fastball was getting hit, and that's supposed to be his best pitch. So I think they've been working on adding movement to the fastball because I think they felt it was a little straight. So listen, do I think that he's going to be the best pitcher in the Mets system? No, I actually think Jonah Tong is probably going to be the best pitcher when it's all said and done because he looks unhittable. But at the same time, the Mets problem over the last few years since DeGrom and Wheeler went out the door is the Mets pitching depth from the minor leagues is very weak. I don't see them willingly thinning that out with their top 3 guys at the moment.
Looking here at the chat, Hitman goes, Yankees need to add a third base ASAP. Jack goes, Yankees reliever, 1 starter, third baseman. My opinion, I think he ranked them there. So Tom, let's throw it over to you and touch on the Yankees. Do you solve the third base dilemma?
I sure do. And listen, another thing that we see a lot in trades, and then we don't put trades together. I'm not trying to shit on Corey here. But teams that are selling rarely want to package guys because you can get a lot more if you can piece things out. So both of my trades are, multiple prospects for 1 player. And yeah, I'm going after. I said this probably like a month ago on the show. Eugenio Suarez from the D-backs. He is absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. Some people joking on Twitter over the weekend. He actually might be doing so well right now, he might force the Diamondbacks not to sell because he has just been such a game changer as of late. Yes, I know he's streaky. Yes, I know he's not the world's greatest defender. But he's a professional third baseman. I think, is he going to make the best plays at third? No, but I think he'd be serviceable over there. And I think he'd bring you more into the middle of that lineup to I could see him kind of slotting in there, and look how nice and balanced that lineup is. Switch hitter Dominguez, righty, lefty. Got the two righties there. You always could, flip flop with Jazz and everything. Having Goldschmidt in the 7-hole, that's nice. And then Wells and Volpe can just try not to embarrass themselves in the bottom of the lineup.
Parm boys.
Chicken Parm boys in the bottom. Hey, listen, he's the best bat on the market, unless Joe's pipe dream of Ronald Acuna Jr. getting traded. He is by far the best bat that is going to be available. Well, and he's going to cost something. So I had the Yankees. I have the Yankees trading their number 3 pitching prospect, Ben Hess, who is in single A, I believe, right now, and Chase Hampton, kind of more of like I think projects to be more of like a depth starter. I think you have to give up some guys, and I know I have another big pitching prospect going on my next deal as well. Hey, D-backs, do you like this one or that one, whatever? I don't think you care. I will say in neither of my trades, I have Spencer Jones going. I would absolutely trade Spencer Jones for the record. I think you have to have it in the right, the right deal. And Suarez is a rental. I do think he's an impact bat. I do think he will make wherever he goes, if he does get traded, he is going to have some big hits in the postseason for a team, or big hits for a team to get them into the postseason. And you have to pay for that. Go on, Rich.
So some pushback from the chat, and I do agree with the pushback. I don't disagree that Suarez is the move. I do think Suarez is absolutely 100% the move. And when we were talking about this idea, I was like, oh, Tom, what are we thinking? He obviously wanted to do the Suarez route. I was like, all right, I'll have to fold. So I will live in Tom's world when I get into my trade, because part of my plan would be to bring in Suarez, but I didn't want to jump Tom here with his Suarez deal. Now my pushback though is who's in the deal. Chase Hampton's coming off a Tommy John surgery. Yeah, he's on the full season IL. You don't see a player like that get moved in the midseason deadline when
that's fair.
They're coming off a major injury like that. I do think, and Jacob here mentions Hess and Rodriguez Cruz. Maybe that's a deal that gets it done. It does seem like the Diamondbacks have an interest in starting pitching arms, but I like your start with Ben Hess. I think that's what it's going to take. I think it'll be Ben Hess, an arm, maybe 2, to get Suarez done. And and here mentions the fact that Tom, I don't think that's enough considering how many teams will go after him. Yeah, he's the third.
I throw another arm or another bat in there. That's fine. I listen. Did I put the most effort into doing this? Sorry, Rich. I probably didn't. But listen. I would say, listen. You want 3 of our top 10? Sure. And if one of those, if you don't want to trade Lombard, if one of those has to be Spencer Jones, then it's Jones and then maybe one other piece. It's kind of how I would present it.
Let's take a look.
I got an interesting question with the Diamondbacks, right? Let's say Suarez, you lose out in Suarez. Would a swap of prospects interest you? Would swapping Lombard for Lawler straight up interest you?
Oh, God, Yankees Empire. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing these 2 top.
Because Lawler doesn't have a spot at the moment.
Chisholm and Zach Gallen in the middle of the season. We're not doing this. Come on, Joe.
You can put Lawler at third base.
I get it. I get it. But at that point, just wait on Lombard for another year. Because I don't know if Lawler's going to solve the problem right now with this team. He's still vastly underproven. So, no, I do think the move is Suarez. I just think you got to change a couple of pieces that are in that deal. But listen, if we get to this point, I'm a very happy camper. we get to that point, I'm happy. And I think a lot of Yankee fans are happy with that as well. All right, Top, let's get to your second deal here, which involves an arm.
Sure does. I had the Yankees going after Griffin Jax of the Minnesota Twins, who has, I think it's 2.5 years of control left. So it's going to cost you a little bit. Bryce Cunningham, with the Yankees' other kind of rising single A arm, him and Hess have kind of like they're neck and neck, and then they've been going up the boards. Rafael Flores, also, and then Brock Selvage. Going over, so 2 top 10 prospects. Number got the 15th ranked prospect as well. Jax, I think, helps. God, I'm choking worse than the Blue Jays. I think Jax really helps settle in that bullpen. I think Williams, although he did give up some runs over the weekend, I think you got to feel pretty good about him probably closing moving forward. Weaver's been coming on as well. I think if you throw Jackson there, I think that becomes 3 arms you can 100% trust in. And then from there, you got to hope you get lucky with a Fernando Cruz or a Ian Hamilton or someone else. But I think that gives you 3 arms in that bullpen, especially in postseason baseball when you're going to have situations where your starters sometimes only go 5. And you need to bring guys in to get big outs, and I think those are 3 guys that can get big outs.
There you go. So would be a star-studded back end of the bullpen. Chat. I mean, I'm pointing out to the Yankees fans here. Is that deal that Tom put out an overpay? Let's see what you guys have to say on the Griffin Jax deal. Sending some prospect fan favorites in there. Rafael Flores, especially, who just got the call recently up to AAA, catcher first base for Flores. Salvage has been a nice lefty in their system for a number of years. Listen, Tom, I think as far as this, between your 2 deals, I think this is the one that actually probably would happen. I think you got the package right. I mean, you're getting, again, it's 2.5 years of control of Griffin Jax. He's been a solid back end guy. I think for what this market is going to be over the next 10 days, you're going to have to give up this kind of potential. I'm sure there are people who are going to go in and say, yeah, you're probably giving up too much for a guy that let's face it, Tom, I never even fucking heard of. But Griffin Jax has been solid this year, 3.83 ERA, and would serve a purpose in the back end of the bullpen. And let's face it, folks, and this is kind of a tidbit to what I'm going to do in a few minutes, but the Yankees past this season don't know what that back end of the bullpen is going to look like. Devin Williams,
exactly to say that,
free agency, and I like the idea of the Yankees targeting not only a relief pitcher, but one with control, because you don't know what's going to happen come this off. Devin Williams is probably going to look at what Edwin Diaz, Josh Hader, and Tanner Scott has made, look at his past 5 years of his career and say, listen, folks, ignore what I did in the first 2 months because that's the money I deserve. Luke Weaver, listen, he may give the team a hometown discount. He may not. He's pitched really well over the last couple of years. So I don't know what these guys are going to be cost, but Griffin Jax is affordable, and you have for the next couple of years, it's just going to have to cost a little bit to get him. Corey,
when it comes to bullpen, desperation sets in. If you're a team that's fighting for a postseason spot, you can't have enough relievers. So it's going to be a big market.
Yeah, real quick, if you want to pull my first trade up, listen, did I screw up by putting Chase Hampton in this? Yeah, yes, I probably did. So you know what? Let's just cross that out, and let's put, I don't know, someone else in there, and then like another guy.
I think this is, if you actually flip the deals on who's going where, I actually
just flip just when you tweet it out. So
because I don't
just flip the deals. There we go. We figured it out.
I don't think the 2 starters is gonna be necessary for the reliever. Hess for Jack straight up might be something that Minnesota's interested in. The only problem with these deals is you give up basically 4 of your top 5 arms in your system. So
keep saying hot
guys, you got to pay to get guys. I don't know.
I understand that. I'm just saying.
The Griffin Jax is a great call instead of Flores. It's going to be someone else. A lot of love for Rafael Flores, but folks, I mean, we're going to learn in a few minutes when I go again here with a couple of Yankees deals. You have to pay a little bit to make some business come the next 10 days. All right, Joe, go right on ahead. Let's take a look at your 2 deals. We're going to start with a deal with an American League East opponent of the New York Yankees. What do you got here?
So I got Cedric Mullins coming to the Mets to play center field. I got them giving up their number 22 ranked prospect, Jonathan Pintaro, who's got really good numbers in AAA and could be a guy that could come up next year and start potentially for the Orioles. So in AAA this year, he has 3.6 ERA. In 11 starts, 71 strikeouts in 51 innings. So power arm, a little bit of control, a little wild, but he's, again, on the precipice. Mullins is an expiring contract, and I don't think would cost all that much. Orioles are desperate for pitching, so this is a situation where I think the Mets would take Mullins and they give him an intriguing pitcher to go and potentially help them next year to start the season.
Yeah, I like this. I'd say this is about right. Not really too familiar on Pintaro, but of the players that have been mentioned that are heading, I think this is the one player for sure will be gone in the next 10 days. So, I mean, again, I would think Arizona is going to be in that seller's market, but they're 50-50 and teams are going to be more bidding for Arizona to just enter the seller's market more than just making a trade for Eugenio Suarez. But Mullins, I think, is a player for sure. I think gone in the next 10 days. Yeah. So it's a good fit for the Mets. Keith again mentions here Mullins or Robert is the move. Jack goes Robert better than Mullins, I think. So I would say, listen, I think this would get it done. Tom, I mean, you have any thoughts?
I think Mullins, you're right. I think he's going to get traded. I think he's going to be a, middly hot commodity. He's not going to be, the top of everyone's board, but I think he can contribute. He's a professional hitter. So, I think he might cost a little. Again, we keep talking about prospect rankings. How much do they matter? I think the Orioles are going to want something that they perceive more than the Mets 22nd ranked prospect. Now, do they think this guy is a top 12 prospect and he just ranked incorrectly and that's why they want him? Maybe. But if they view him as the 22nd ranked kind of prospect who's going to really not be a game changer for them, I think you can get more from Mullins than that.
I was looking for, well, the thing is he's only basically a 3-month rental. And the other thing is I'm looking for an arm that has intrigue and value that can strike out a lot of players. And the Orioles are going to try and do a quick turnaround here.
Like I said, if they value that, if they think that is a better than the 22nd best prospect in their system, then yeah. But if they view him as around that, then I think Cedric Mullins costs more than that.
I don't think you're giving up a top 15 prospect for Mullins.
Hitman goes maybe a lower level prospect added can get the deal done.
Maybe a guy off the board, like an intriguing reliever could be added. But I think I think you're in the ballpark of what they're looking for. And like I said, I'm trying to get the Orioles some kind of intriguing arm for their turnaround for next season.
Corey, quick thoughts on this.
I will say, looking at the trade, if this was the trade, I mean, then sign me up because it's not that much value. For a center fielder, the position of need. Again, if I'm just trying to look at it, difference makers. Again, 218. Granted, he's got more pop and he's faster than Tyrone Taylor. Better defender than Jeff McNeil being out there. I just don't think it's a game-changing move for the lineup, but for the value, I agree. It's not going to cost you a top-tier prospect for Cedric Mullins. So if you can get him on a good value deal, sign me up. I'm in. I just don't think it's a game-changing move, but it would improve the team slightly. Ultimately, we'll see.
Joe, you got one more deal for us.
Yes, I do. And again, Corey went the Pirates route. I wanted to go the Pirates route, but this was something that I went. Mets get Seth Lugo and Lucas. How do you pronounce it? Craig?
Urseg.
Urseg for Ronnie Mauricio, Jacob Reimer. I probably should have had another prospect in there.
Oh, yeah, 100% should have.
Yeah, you probably should have,
100% you should have.
I'm so happy because my Suarez trade doesn't look as terrible now.
Lugo's a rental. So the
Not
cost for him.
necessarily.
I remember Mauricio was a top 100 prospect coming into the season. So it gives them an offensive person who could go.
Mauricio's been a prospect forever, and he's like not amounted to anything.
Of course you like this trade, Keith. He gave up fuck nothing to get him.
Well, again, the Mets have to make a decision. They got 3 guys on the infield in Vientos, Beatty, and Mauricio. One of them's going to have to go. And a team like Kansas City, who's looking for offense, who's had the worst production out of second base of any team in the league, by the way, is going to look for a guy that can come in and slot and play that position. Mauricio is an option there. He does have a ton of power. Again, he hasn't shown it consistently in the big leagues. He's also 30 games off of an ACL injury where he missed all of last year. So be a little bit patient. Lugo slides into the rotation.
Or is injury prone.
Urseg slides in as a setup guy. Again, probably should have added another prospect in there. I admit that, but again, I think
so basically you're saying you want the Mets to acquire maybe the best starting pitcher on the market and maybe the best reliever on the market.
Damn,
who may or may not be available. I mean,
it's traded. He might be the best starting pitcher traded on the market. That's very possible. And yeah, I mean, well, God, I've never felt more relieved than after my day.
Jacob Petruzzi to get this done.
Yeah, I know. I shortchanged Kansas City.
You shortchanged the whole deal because look, last year for relievers that were barely 2 months into control. Look what Tanner. I know he's not Tanner Scott, Lucas Urseg, but he's a top reliever in the American League. Look what Tanner Scott that return was. Look what the Jason Adam return was. The top end relievers that have control are gonna cost a little bit. Yeah. Seth Lugo, as Tom mentioned, he may be the best movable starting pitcher over the next 10 days. And I know you mentioned he's a rental, but he does have a player option. So technically, I mean, if Lugo wants to stay put in Queens, I mean, it's more than just 2 months.
For what? $14 million? He's opted out.
I could pull that number, but definitely going to take a little bit more here. But yeah, I'm not.
You're right.
That you want to.
It probably a Jesus Baez, somebody like that, and it close to what Corey's deal was. Would
you think you want to add a cherry on top of this? You need the actual Sunday to make this trade.
Prospect.
Right. It's essentially a rental. The player option is $15 million, which
he's opted out. He's above. Did a second in the Cy Young last year.
He's above that market value for sure. Okay. So yeah, I mean, listen, you gotta like the rotation when you throw Lugo in that mix. Still running with a 6-man staff with Senga in the mix here. So Peterson, Lugo, Senga, Minaya, Holmes, Montas. It would make you feel really good. The back end of the bullpen looks pretty damn good as well with Diaz and Urseg back there. So listen, as far as the components go, yes, just like Corey, I think you guys did a great job in solving the needs. I think there might have been a little bit more here, a little bit less here, but ultimately I think the Mets guys got what they needed. Joe just absolutely screwed over Kansas City and their organization.
We're on sleep deprivation here, right?
Everybody's making excuses.
I'm sure what small amount of Kansas City Twitter is going to come from my life after that one.
So anyway, let's we're going to move on, and this is the final 2 Yankees deals. Of course, these are my deals, and I'll try to keep this quick because it's 9:13. All righty, you know what? I really did like the targets that Joe and Tom set for themselves. Joe targeting Kansas City, Tom Minnesota. So I didn't leave those 2 teams. I didn't leave the American League Central with my biggest acquisitions here. So I'm going to start things off. Listen, Joe has Seth Lugo going to the Mets. I'm sorry, buddy. He's come to the Yankees because I'm giving him a better package. Here we go now. So what I got here, and as I mentioned before, what Tom got with third base and Eugenio Suarez, that's the move. I'm not asking Jonathan India to be the Yankee starting third baseman, but I do think they need a complementary piece on the bench. India is there for another 1.5 years. Lugo, as we just mentioned before, only 2 months because he's not taking the player option for $15 million. So the controllable asset in this deal is India. What the Yankees are sending back, they're sending back 2 players that they can swap in their 40-man roster. We've talked about roster allocation and how it's smoother to just swap 40-man player for 40-man player. So Beater and Pereira goes right to the 40-man. The Kansas City Royals have had issues with their outfield. They've had issues trying to get guys out there. They're starting Jack Caglianone, who's not an outfielder. He's a first baseman and he's a pitcher, but he's not an outfielder. He's out there because Pasquantino's still on the team. Adding Pereira to the mix there. And Elba Rodriguez Cruz, somebody I've highlighted on this show a couple of times, as recent as our On the Way Up episode, where we were covering both prospects, both systems prospects. I think this is a deal that would get it done to get these two. Again, you're getting a player that you only have here for 2 months in Seth Lugo, and you got a player here that will be a bench spot for you for the next year and a half. But Thomas, I'm still with you here that Suarez has to be the move at third base. I just didn't want to jump on your bandwagon since he did the deal.
Yeah, I think my only issue with this trade is Everson Pereira stinks, and I think everyone knows Everson Pereira stinks. I don't think he has any value.
Well, Mauricio has more value than any of these guys.
Yeah, but at least I'm giving up more here, Joe. Jeez.
Yeah.
Mauricio's a top 100 prospect. He's better than all three of them combined.
I will say, Jonathan India will basically be
I also
DJ
don't see
LeMahieu.
India as a fit for the Yankees, but go ahead, Corey.
Again, India for me, it's just a bench piece. I'm not looking to have India before people start coming
He's a
at me
younger
with
DJ
torches.
LeMahieu.
India
is
is simply going to be a bench piece. I'm completely with Thomas Suarez. I think Suarez is the move at third base, so I didn't want to overstep him there. I'm putting India on the bench because I am going to be losing a bench piece in my next deal, somebody who is a part of the current active roster in my next trade. So, again, some variation of this. I do think Lugo is the move. I think he fits very nicely in the middle of this rotation following Fried and Rodon. You feel good about that. And look at your depth after that. You got Luis Hill returning. Will Warren, the way he's been pitching, has looked good. Throughout the year. So, that 5-man plus Stroman as your depth, you feel good about that rotation. Let me see if I'm getting crap from the chat because I'm sure I am. Let's see here.
Pretty supportive. I think because, again, Seth Lugo could be the best starting pitcher moved at the deadline, especially if they hold on to him and other guys don't go. And you could debate if he's a better arm than Zach Gallen. This year's a better arm than Zach Gallen. I think he's going to cost more than that. I just think Everson Pereira is he's in that territory. It's I think he's kind of proven that he's been up a few times that has not delivered. That he's not it.
He's not really been up a few times though.
Well,
he was up one time in a lost season. That was really it.
He was up twice.
No, it was just once in 2023.
2 years ago.
He
got back.
Exactly. Well, he also had a major surgery, so he was coming back. Again, I think outfield, though, regardless, outfield is a target. We're not doing Spencer Jones in a deal for Seth Lugo, who you have here for 2 months, and Jonathan. Let's face it. So let's get that out. Let's get that out of our head. But I think outfield is the right move for this team. If there's somebody better in the system that they want in the outfield that is controllable, then go for it. They like Brendan Jones, who not a lot of people talk about, was actually a recent Eastern League Player of the Week. That's another move they can go. It's another outfielder in our system. Okay. My second and final deal, the final deal for tonight's round of trades. This one, I'm going to Minnesota. And of course, for those who've talked to me over the last month, there's one player that if they can only make one move, if there's only one player I'd want this team to take on over the next 10 days, it's this guy right here, Yohan Duran. And to do it, guys, we got to make a move here. And I know this one's going to hurt, but I'm sending Ben Rice and Cam Schlittler to do it. And I know everybody wants shit litter, of course. Everybody, listen, there's a lot of love.
No one was on shit litter before me. I was number one on that block. No one else even heard of him.
Jeez, there's a lot of love for shit litter. There's a lot of love for the guy after that first start. The ridiculous comparisons off one start, and that's great. I'm glad. That's a good time to strike on his value right here. And with Ben Rice in the fold as well, these are two players that Yankee fans wanted to see a little bit more of, and they might well get. You might not see these two guys get moved over the next 10 days, but I say strike while the iron's hot. Yeah. The Minnesota Twins, when it comes to their organizational depth, are weak at both catcher and first base. Ben Rice fits that mold perfectly for them. Schlittler, he fits in the starting rotation mold. I don't know what's going to happen with a guy like Joe Ryan over the next couple of seasons, but Schlittler, they'll have for the next few years. Not going to say this is your heir apparent to Joe Ryan, but this is a good place to start.
I actually think this might be the best overall trade.
This one to me, I think people are gonna hate it because they love what they got out of these two guys. But I'm sorry, to make good business, and you're getting a guy who's going to be your closer for the next 2.5 years. And as I just mentioned before, don't know what's going to happen in free agency come this offseason. But think about Yohan Duran and that electric entrance he has with the Undertaker gongs and Pitbull and Daddy Yankee into Yankee Stadium. New York will have the two best closer entrances in all of baseball right here between Duran and Diaz. Duran's my guy here, Thomas. This is who I want for sometime within the next 10 days.
I think it's going to cost more. I know everyone. Really? Again, I do. I think Schlittler. He looked really good. It was one start. He's a guy who's he's gone up the rankings this year from having a really good season in the minors. Is he truly a top kind of arm guy? I don't know. I don't know. I know he throws hard. Duran is you're talking like top of the top kind of level of closers in baseball. His stuff is ridiculous. And then Ben Rice, again, I think I've made it kind of clear on the show that I'm just not a Ben Rice guy. I would love for when he's hitting for the Yankees. I want him to do well. What?
I don't remember you making that clear on the show that you weren't a Ben Rice guy.
I just don't think he's that good. I think he's not that good. I don't think he's a game changing, like, hey, Ben Rice is a guy who you're going to be able to pencil in for 25 to 30 homers a year for the next 3 or 4 years. I don't think he's that guy. I don't.
Jones would have to be in this deal.
So I thought about that, and I think of the players that the Yankees can try to pull in over the next couple of days, like that's the guy that works. But Joe, this is what I mean. But by looking at the two organizations, the Twins are very deep in outfield. Very deep in outfield.
They are.
They have Trevor Larnach under control, who's looked good this season. They have Walker Jenkins, who's a top 3 prospect in all of baseball. They have Emmanuel Rodriguez, who's ready to take the big league level. And you have a guy who they should be trading, going out to the media and saying, guess what, guys? I'm going to be a Twin for the rest of my life because I have a no trade clause in Byron Buxton.
Listen, I will like Buxton before he said that.
I would, and trust me when I tell you, in the initial rough draft of this, Jones was in the deal. I looked at what they had. They have outfield. I don't think they're a match for Jones.
Well, can Larnach go to first base?
What do I look like, a Minnesota Twins fan?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I thought
Larnach. Spencer Jones can go to first base. Doesn't Spencer Jones also play first?
Spencer Jones also plays first, but he's an athlete. You'd want him in the outfield.
With it. He's never really like dove deep in it. He's an outfielder. He's not a first baseman. But I think this
trade,
is the
though.
move.
I trade.
It makes sense. I think it makes sense. And you're taking advantage of value that again, listen, Schlittler could, there's going to be a lot of eyes on this start tomorrow on Schlittler against the Toronto Blue Jays, because this could be a make or break for Schlittler to get moved like within the next few days.
I think, I don't know. I think yes, but also I don't, right. Major league GMs are not Twitter users who don't freak out over 1 or 2 stars. I think, if he goes out and has 7 innings and shoves, absolutely.
I don't even think he needs to do that. I don't embarrass yourself.
Anything less than that.
On yourself. I think he's tradable now.
He's tradable, but
he's tradable. I
don't think whoever the GM of the Twins is going to be like, oh my God, this guy, we need him. Like, I think they have a more of a process for these things.
I think some Yankee fans have jumped the gun already and compared them to
that I agree.
Jacob Mizorowski and all these guys.
Listen,
I don't think he's that good. So
Mets update real quick. It's 5-3 bottom 7. Future Met Reed Detmers versus Juan Soto as the go-ahead run.
Yankees still chasing. It's 4-1, but Giancarlo Stanton is up as the tying run. Runners on first and second in the top of the 8th inning, so we'll monitor that. Also, and that's it for our trades. We'll put everything up on our socials there. Very good stuff, everybody. It's 9:24, so we're running late here. Make sure to follow us on X at ESB Podcast. Give us all a follow. There, ESPNYM, ESPNYY. We go live with the Bronx Take Monday through Friday, select times throughout the week. And then we have extra innings, which will follow tonight's show. Won't be on for so long. Just want to definitely get some of the reactions from the fans on some of the trades put out there. And I have another follow-up question that I was going to ask on the show about controlling assets we'll talk about it on extra innings. But let's get into our game. It's lineup card. We'll start with the Mets. And Joe, you have our first game, our lineup card here. So go ahead. Let's see what you got.
Yep. Hard to believe 10 years ago today.
Wow.
The Mets in 2015 were playing the Nationals. This is one of the games that probably led them to be buyers in 2015 when they were fighting for their life. So this is before the trade deadline. This is before they got a couple of the guys that they did within the next few days. So we're looking for the third place hitter, the sixth place hitter, and the eighth place hitter. So let's see what you got here.
And real quick, Reed Detmers just gave up the lead. It's a tie game on Soto.
What hit from Soto,
That's
baby?
hilarious.
Future Met.
You know what? So we're still in the National League days, 2015. You got your pitcher batting eighth. Let's go Noah Syndergaard.
No,
Let's go Jacob deGrom.
it is Jacob deGrom.
Yeah. All right, we got one.
I almost jumped in trying to
Curious
steal
if you're
that.
going to remember that.
July 21st, 2015. Oh, this was a fun time. This was
All
a
right, so
fun
yeah.
time.
So I got
Left fielder and third base.
David
right?
Wright at third base. I think he came back
Nope.
at this point.
David
No?
Wright
Okay.
was hurt.
Oh yeah, he came back closer to Labor Day, I think.
And you said this was before the deadline, so there's a certain player that I feel like you want me to guess, but I'm not going to do it.
I'll do it. Left fielder, batting third, Yoenis Cespedes. They already made the trade.
Nope, they did not.
I'm not gonna have better guesses, so I might as well just take a shot.
Suckered him in.
I'm gonna say
What is it? Who else am I gonna guess?
I don't know.
left
somebody else.
field, Michael Kadire batting sixth.
Nope. Kadire did bat in this game, but he would pinch hit for DeGrom. Actually, pinch hit for Bobby Parnell late in the game.
Batting sixth, left field, Jeff Francoeur.
Nope.
That's another K for me. So 2 Ks for me, 1 for Tom, 1 for Corey. So we're missing left field and third base. And our number 3 and number 6 hitter, we've established. Our number 8 hitter is Jacob deGrom. It's a good bat back then. I guess that's why you had him bat at 8.
Mm-hmm. Had a 195 average that year. DeGrom did.
Batting third and left field, Daniel Murphy.
Nope. Well,
Batting sixth in third base, Daniel Murphy.
hold on. Daniel Murphy is batting third, but he was not playing left field. He was playing third base.
No, so I got it right. I got the point.
Rich gets it.
I got it.
Rich gets the point. You got 2 of
All right,
3.
and I'm still in the game.
And I think I get a check swing.
So he batted third. Daniel Murphy, but he had third base.
Played third.
I didn't even know he played third base.
Well, that's why I chose it. It's a little
So we
tricky.
missing left field.
So we're missing left field.
Am I gonna do anything with these 2 guesses for the left fielder? Probably not, but you know. In left field, Laston's Milich.
No. Laston's Milich.
Kelly Johnson, left field, 8th.
Ooh.
Well, 6th.
6th. Left field.
So who's got what? How many guesses?
We each have 2 Ks. We each have 2 Ks. Sure, our next one.
Yeah.
I have 2 points, 2 Ks. Tom, 2
Everyone I'm
Ks,
thinking
4
of,
Ks.
it just is like the wrong time. No, that was earlier.
I was literally gonna guess somebody who's literally batting 9th.
I was gonna guess someone who was retired for probably 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Was he
batting sixth left field, Mike Baxter?
Nope.
Okay,
Mike
I'm out.
Baxter.
Good guess.
I think I'm late on that one. I think Baxter was a little earlier than that.
Batting
On
sixth,
Mayberry
left field.
Jr.
No, Corey. He did pinch hit for this
Oh,
person.
I got 2 pinch hitters.
Kirk Neuenhuis.
It is Kirk Neuenhuis.
Yay, Tom!
It is Kirk Neuenhuis. Neuenhuis and Mayberry were in a platoon.
All right.
Whoa.
Tom.
In a platoon.
I saw Kirk Neuenhuis throw an absolute shit fit underneath the stadium for the Trenton Thunder.
With that,
And I
Tom,
remember
you're
always
actually
thinking, like, man, what a baby.
So, Tom, you're now up to 15. My 2 points take me up to third. Corey and I swapped spots there.
Whoa.
So let's flip over to the Yankee side of it. And this is mine. And I guess Joe and I were going for a theme.
Hitters.
Joe and I were going for a theme, and I guess we didn't even know it, but it was something that had to do with the Nationals because the Yankees are playing the Nationals in this one.
Ooh.
Now, the significance of this game, folks, July 23rd, 2020, that was opening day. That was this is the COVID delayed start to the season this year. So opening day 2020, which is
D. Gregorius, shortstop.
Batting where?
Batting 7.
Incorrect. It's not
third. Luke Voigt batting third. Luke Voigt at first.
So Luke Voigt is at first base. He is not batting third. You still get the point. In this lineup, he's actually batting 7.
Okay.
So D. Gregorius, shortstop at 6.
No. I said it before. I'm not gonna let you count that. I said D. Gregorius is not in this lineup. D. Gregorius was incorrect. D. Gregorius was incorrect. So no, I'm not taking the point. I did say it.
I was gonna say, but yeah, he's gone at this point. Okay, so we're missing.
At this point, actually, I don't know if he's gone.
He is. Oh no, he was there. He's there in 2020.
Gleyber Torres at shortstop, batting third.
That's fully correct. Good job, Joe.
Yeah.
Gleyber Torres is a shortstop.
Right, so who are we missing? We're missing the
Gary Sanchez, 6 catcher.
And look at that. Everybody gets a point.
There we go.
Gary Sanchez was the number. So this was a little bit of an easier one because all the players are a little bit more notable here. It was just more funny about the circumstance where we're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of the delayed start of the 2020 season. And how crazy of a season was that, boys, as we look 5 years back on that? I mean, Corey Favs, you literally had a presence at Citi Field. You want to talk about that?
I mean, it's yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing.
Yep, absolutely, man. So no, it was a weird season, obviously, but that was 5 years ago. That lineup,
Yeah.
Almost 5 years ago.
Oh wait, yeah, the cardboard cutout.
That's what I was trying to get at. I don't know what you're talking about.
I had a brain fart for a second. Yes, I did have. My buddy Jay does a season ticket package, and he has multiple seats. So as part of that 2020 season, for each ticket, you got to submit a fan photo as a cardboard cutout. So technically, I was at every home game for the Mets this past in 2020 as a cardboard cutout.
Fun stuff there. But let's end this show. We'll be back next Monday. Let's take it around the room for last. Let's Corey, we'll start with you. Throw it to Joe, then Tom. Let's end this damn thing. Go ahead.
I just hope the Mets could win this ball game. Let's just try to get 2 in a row and give us a little bit of peace of mind.
Mets got to close out this game and start getting back on the right side of winning.
I hope the Yankees win their game. What do you think about that, Joe and Corey?
One might actually happen.
We'll see you on Extra Innings in 5 minutes. Make sure to tune in next Monday for our next episode of ESB. Number 134, as we are in the final countdown of the trade deadline. We will see you then. Take care.